Okay guys, welcome to another Post-it Note video. Today we're going to be talking about noise pollution as a source of atmospheric air pollution. We often don't think of noise pollution in the form of impacting humans. Most of the time we think about it impacting animals, but there are going to be some human impacts as well. The big takeaway here is we're loud. A lot of things we do generate a lot of noise, and that interferes with a lot of the ecosystems around us and also with the other humans that are around us. So what are some of the sources? So transportation is a very big source of noise pollution. That can take the form of roadway noise from automobiles, air traffic, and aquatic transportation. Construction becomes another big form. That could be either domestic and residential or industrial. And then if we want to break down industrial even further, we could look into power plants and manufacturing. Those are going to be the biggest individual sources or categories of noise pollution. But what are the impacts of these forms of pollution? So a lot of times these are going to take the form of physiological stressors. So things that are going to impact our body's ability to do their normal functioning, whether that be from a communication or a sensory perspective. So sensory hearing loss for humans and animals is a big one. Cardiovascular distress. We can break that down into high blood pressure. And we can also put accelerated heart rate into that category. Gastrointestinal complications can also arise. This has to do with how your nervous system is impacted and its impacts on the digestive system. Impaired alertness, anxiety, and memory loss are also impacts of noise pollution. And then on the ecosystem side, there's a whole bunch of disruptions that we take note of. So those can range from communication between animals to migration to competition and then mating. So the ability to find a mate, compete with others for food and resources, and general communication among animals because of their forms of communication. So if we're looking at this, one thing we want to consider is what are some solutions? And you've probably seen some of these around. So particularly if you've driven on a highway barriers are intended to prevent the noise that's generated from that transportation from getting out. Transportation materials are also something to be considered. So alternative brakes, so like brake pads, they don't make such a high-pitched noise. And then looking at using technology to improve traffic flow. Less stopping and starting would cause less noise in general. And then engines. So our vehicles run on internal combustion engines generally. Electric vehicles run more quietly, so they would be a better sound alternative. And then utilizing different building materials. So sound absorbent materials such as porous surfaces would do a better job of retaining noise than things that would bounce off vibrations and sound. The big thing is that because of the noise we make, we add stress to animals around us, and we also interfere with a lot of other organisms' ability to communicate. So for an understanding check for you to consider, can you identify local wildlife or an ecosystem that would be most impacted by noise pollution? What would the source be, and what's one form of mitigation?